Thank you. Did you guys like the film? I would love to introduce you, well, I guess you don't need that introduction anymore, but Dr. Tim Seelig and Christopher Doolittle.
So I think I'd like to just open it up to the audience. If you have a question, raise your hand. I saw you were. Yeah.
How is the gentleman's cancer treatment progressing, who was originally from, I believe, Mississippi?
Yeah, Jimmy. Not so well, unfortunately. He's been through 19 rounds of chemo. And that said, we've never seen anyone fight with so much humor and power and wit. And, he, uses, his sense of humor and yoga and tennis and everything to really, and music, singing in the chorus to stay alive. The good news is he did, after the tour, reconnect with his father and spent Christmas there shortly after for the first time.
Yes, right here.
Had I not met some of you last night, this was not on my radar at all. I rolled out of bed, got here. I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad that you have the film now to speak for you, because you can't be everywhere at one time. And my question is about the song, You Have More Friends Than You Know, or in general, were any of these original songs? But I have a question about that one specifically. So were those original songs?
Absolutely. They're not original songs.
Okay.
However, the song More Friends Than You Know was written by Jeff Marks, who wrote Avenue Q and a few other musicals you may or may not know. And he's a dear friend of the chorus. He wrote that for another project that I worked on that actually has become part of SFGMC's national outreach program, named the It Gets Better Tour, in conjunction with the It Gets Better project. So he wrote More Friends Than You Know, and he didn't license it, he left it open so that anyone in the world could sing it, could arrange it, and share it. And it's been seen on Glee, it's been recorded by Pentatonics and just a number of people, because that's truly the message. It's the message of the film, it's the message that we as an organization want to share with the world, that really we all have more friends.
Amazing. So the part two of that was that when you spoke of your 22,000 people that weren't there for you, how does that song relate? Because you're saying there's.
Wow, that's a long answer.
No,
Well, let me go back to your first one. The opening song, Dance with the Storm,
that's true.
was written for us by Andrew Lippa, a Broadway composer that many of you will know who that is. And the I Ain't Afraid of Your Churches or Your Jesus, I'm Afraid of What You Do in the Name of Your God, that's a Holly Near piece. So some of you all may know Holly Near. Raise your hand if you know Holly Near. Okay,
Oh, wow.
You're old like me. That's good. Yeah, the Amazing Grace at the end is the most beautiful arrangement of that, arranged by Mark Hayes. So that's that.
But you're personal.
Armistead Maupin talks about biological and logical family, and I love the logical family. Those 22,000 people were not my logical family. There was no logic there at all. They cut me off, and I was celebrated by that church for talent. Before, put on a pedestal with my wife. And I've not reconnected with any of those people. I have a few of them that are now Facebook friends, because they're like, okay, well, now he's a success again. I can be nice to him. My opinion about organized religion is not going to change.
Yes, right here.
What are your plans for distribution of the movie?
There are questions about distribution.
Yeah, this is kind of the tail end of our festival circuit. It kind of started in April at Tribeca. We're in around 150 festivals around the world.
Right.
Very grateful for that. So MTV bought the film. They're our distributor, which is really interesting choice, to bring this film to a completely different audience than we've been reaching in festivals. There are no dates yet for the release of it. Our hope is that in the spring, perhaps. And they bought global rights, so it will be a global distribution. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And since I'm the executive director and the shameless promoter of all things SFGMC, I actually want to congratulate David here. The film won Best Documentary at Tribeca and has won another 29 Best Documentaries. Little piece of paper. And we're hoping for this to be 31.
I'm also curious, David, about how you found the project, how you got involved and heard the story, and when you knew you wanted to tell it
Yeah.
on screen.
You know, as probably everyone in this room, I was really shook by the 2016 elections. And you know, I was really looking for hope and looking for people that were going to do something that could make some sort of change or create some sort of positive movement towards bridging this divisiveness that was created. I don't really care about who's president. Actually, in fact, we purposely do not mention his name a single time or show an image because I don't think. But the people deserve our attention, and they are bringing them together. And they announced the tour a day after the elections, and I learned about it, and I just became obsessed with that idea. I thought, from everything that I had seen, I thought what they set out to do was through music, right, through the power of music and the power of travel. They kind of stood a chance at actually making some sort of not changing any laws, but really changing hearts and creating an example of what people can do, right? And then me and Bud, our producer, reached out to them, and we kind of been a family ever since.
And what was your reaction to learning that somebody wanted to film your story and put it on screen?
The day after the election, our board chair, you already heard the story, called and said we should not go to China. We were going to go to China and be the first gay men's chorus to go there, and that was great, except as that went along, we understood that we would not be making a big impact in China because the state-owned media would not cover the tour. So we were already kind of turning back from Canada when this happened, and our board chair said, we should take a red state tour. So we put out a media alert that said the Gay Men's Chorus is going to take a red state tour. And it had 800,000 media hits within like a couple of days because people were looking for something just to hang on to. And then we realized there were 33 red states. And we could not ask the guys to quit their jobs and just go to all the red states. So that's why we switched the name of the tour. The Lavender Pen is, Harvey Milk gave the mayor, George Moscone, a lavender pen to sign the first equal rights bill in the United States by a major city. So that's the Lavender Pen. When we did that, we had 3 entities come to us. We have no money. We're a nonprofit gay chorus. We were going to have all the guys just film it with their iPhones and turn it all in and do something. And we had 3 entities come and say, we want to make a documentary. And we were like, oh dear, how do you do this? We didn't know. And so they all gave us proposals, and we went through them and decided on the one that we ended up with because we just felt like they had the heart to tell a story, and that wouldn't just be a tour guide. I mean, what I did last summer, I spent a fabulous 8 days in the South. So we just felt good about it, and our gut instinct paid off.
Thank you. Oh, yes, right here.
The interview you had with the conservative radio show was sort of surprising, the clip you showed. How do you explain that, or how did it transpire?
The question's about the conservative radio show?
It sucked. That's why. I spent 35 years as a Southern Baptist in a Southern Baptist home. All 3, my father, mother, and brother were professional Baptists, and I know all the scriptures that they use as weapons against us. I know them really well. I was so ready. And Jim Dant, the pastor of Greenville, after our visit, has written a book that's now out called This I Know, a guide for LGBTQ Christians. And it's a little book that goes through each of the scriptures that the fundamentalists use against us. So I was ready, and I don't know, I think they were smoking, obviously, and they were just real calm, and he just wanted to say, I like those Sopranos. Like, geez. It's a good thing it's radio, so you're not like, So It was, and you saw at the end, I couldn't get a word in edgewise. I mean, I had a couple of them ready, and then finally I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna leave, we're gonna get you nowhere. I will say that we tried to drum up drama before we went. David and the team were just poking the bear, just poking it all over the South. And there is the hospitality thing, but they were so receptive across the board that that was the real surprise. And I will say that the first edit that we got to see, little snips, had the 45th president in the documentary to show the hate and vitriol that was coming out. And then they cut that and made a beautiful film about coming together, so that it didn't jar you out of your seat like, oh my gosh, so that's all you would focus on is him. So that's, yeah, I have nothing to say about the radio interview except it was the biggest disappointment of my life.
Yes, right here.
Yeah, church over now. Before he answers that, I just want to add on, because Tim says something in that interview that I want to expound on just a little bit.